Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sherwood Shakeup. I'm Matt Weinglass, your host, and thank you for joining us, all you people watching live. And if you're watching it on a replay, thank you for watching and sharing and liking the video and subscribing to our channel at Sherwood Players on YouTube. We've been putting this awesome channel together for the last 9 months or so, and I just want to thank everyone who's been part of building this with us. And we're able to showcase a lot of our work, some of our work from the past. The group's been around for several years, but it's just these last 9 months, it's just been incredible to see our presence kind of expand on YouTube. And of course, the Sherwood Shakeup is a huge part of that, our live show. We've had such an incredible experience building this show and bringing on incredible guests. I want to check in first with our general manager, David Madwin. Come on in, David.
Hey there, howdy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Matt?
Good. I see you got the banner, the Sherwood Players International Film Festival banner.
Yeah, even though it only, even though it's only one festival a year, you should always be planning for it. It's a constant reminder that you should be working on films. If only we were doing a show about making films, that would tie together so well with this. Oh well.
We should really do a topic one of these days about filmmaking, perhaps, or more specifically, the development process of putting a film together, like the beginning stages. That would be a great topic.
Getting funding, learning about pre-production, how to start in there. That'd be great. Yeah, but in the meantime, for this intro, before we could get that set up, we do have a couple awesome things of our own at Sherwood we're doing. Other than having, we've got our feature films in development. We also have a really exciting drop in October 1st, and it's something that we're not going to fool around about, and that's distracted driving. Matt, you want to tell people what's going on April 1st?
Yeah, we are. This is very, very new. So you guys are hearing this for the first time right now, but our long-awaited project called Crash, the animated series, has gotten an official release date. This is a world premiere for our season 1 web series that we've been developing for a few years, actually. And it's about a superhero called Crash who stops people from distracted driving. And we've been developing the IPO for a long time. We're actually going to dedicate a whole show to Crash and talking about the process, not just of the animation process, because it is an animated project, but even just the idea of having a product itself and developing the IPO around that product. And the time has finally come for a launch of the first season. We're so excited. It's going to be on Genre TV on Roku. And we're just now, again, this is so fresh. We just got this information. We're putting together the marketing materials, and you'll be seeing a lot more about it. And of course, we will be doing a show dedicated to this. I think the show will be March 29th, right before the launch on April 1st. And April 1st, Dave, as you said, we found this out too. This is awesome because we've been dealing with this topic very seriously for a long time, distracted driving. And lo and behold, there's an actual month dedicated to distracted driving awareness, and that is the month of April. So what better time to launch the first season of our series is April 1st for Distracted Driving Awareness Month.
Right, distracted driving, nothing to fool around about. All right, well, let's get into the show today. I believe people might understand we were being facetious because we have the amazing, incredible producers from the film Craving here to talk about the entire pre-production process, from ideas to getting funding. They're on Indiegogo currently, to getting into pre-production, and then what it actually means to take an idea and get that all the way through until you're standing on set. So I'm going to step off right now, but enjoy the rest of the show, guys. And please, if you're enjoying this, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video. If you're listening to this through one of our new podcast services, please subscribe as well. It helps us out, and it allows us to keep bringing you awesome indie content about what's going on in the world of entertainment.
Thank you so much, Dave. And seriously, David has been exceptional as far as helping elevate this company and getting the right team members in place, which you have to do if you're building anything that where you have, you have to keep the messaging, keep the branding. These are things we actually talk about on this show and in our workshop, our live workshops that we're bringing back in person. But we'll tell you more about that later. For now, let's stay on the subject of team building. And that's actually what this show really is about today. Because as Dave said, we are bringing in the group, the producers, the brains behind the new film in production, or it's in development. It's called Craving. It's a new crime horror feature film. Before we're going to introduce the first guest, the director, incredible director, incredible visionary. We're going to play his reel, and then we'll bring him in. This is the reel, director's reel for Jay Horton. Check it out.
I made a good movie.
This thing scared people a lot. I don't think he made it.
I made a really good movie.
What do you think he was thinking when those things ripped his arms off and nobody went to help him?
He was probably thinking, oh shit, they fucking ripped my arms off.
Nothing lives here anymore.
The distributors told me they needed more sex and violence to sell it. I guess having a good movie is not enough.
Please don't go.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give them so much exploitation, so much sex, that they're gonna be choking on the blood and the kids.
Heck, God, we had some good times. The 80s, the coke, the girls. Every night you couldn't sleep and we got it done. I'm just so happy. Dusty, how fucking ungrateful can you be? I gave you this. You were here because of me.
Shoot.
Made you. You made me.
And now the man who has directed over 20 feature films, produced another 40. He's never started one that he never finished. Please welcome to the show, Jay Horton.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty
today?
good. I'm good, man. Feeling good.
Thank you so much for being on the show with us. And thank you for bringing such an amazing group. We're going to get to the team itself behind this film, but we just wanted to bring you in first and just talk to you. My first question for you, Jay, is what attracted you to the horror genre? How did you get started as a director in this genre?
Well, I'm a movie buff in general, just like all types of movies, but I always really had an affinity for horror. And when I first, was finishing up film school and I'm thinking about my first movie, everybody says, horror is fairly easy to break into on a lower budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an idea for a horror movie and I jumped in. And I've found over the years, because I've made a lot of movies at this point and I've done many genres, but as far as the production and being on set, horror is about the most fun thing to make.
Right. No, I hear that from other directors of horror too. And there's some that are reluctant to get into it, but what I like about horror myself, and I've done a few on both sides of the camera, but mostly as an actor. And I'll say to you, what I like about it is it seems to have a built-in audience that just loves experiencing this type of emotions that come from watching a horror film, and you're really tapping into that fear factor inside and really getting into people's minds and in their hearts, but in that kind of fun roller coaster way.
One of the really cool things about horror, almost in that type of genre picture, is that you're dealing with real human emotions, but in really heightened, unreal circumstances. And
Exactly.
it's like, I forget who the philosopher that said it, but they said, you meet the real person on the day that they're in extreme fear or pain, and I feel like you get to a truth in performances in horror movies that you don't see in other genres.
Wow. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, David's producers asking, what is your favorite horror film?
My favorite horror film is probably The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. Although, if you ask me tomorrow, it'd probably be something else. But right now it's The Thing.
Awesome. Well, Jay, let's talk about Craving, because I stumbled on this film. And I don't spend too much time on Indiegogo at all. And for some reason, I saw it in front of me and I was immediately like, wow, this thing looks sharp. And I didn't know who was behind it just yet, but it turned out I happen to know a couple of the people. But
Right.
I immediately watched, I looked at your campaign and I was immediately drawn to it. What inspired you to tell this particular story?
Well, so this script has been on my shelf for about 12 years, maybe a little longer. I think I wrote it in 2008 originally. It was initially inspired by, I hate to say it, but From Dusk Till Dawn. I was always a huge fan of that. Not necessarily the genre switching, but like I really liked the characters. I liked the anti-hero thing. I thought George Clooney was just super cool in it. And at the time, I wouldn't say it now, but I liked the way Robert Rodriguez shot and directed his movies back then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was a big, and I saw From Dusk Till Dawn in high school. So, it was like, it was a seminal, movie in my development. And, so yeah, it was the initial inspiration.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to get back to team, because I think that's the essential, that's the foundation of any project that we take on in this industry. We have to have a solid team behind us, not just talented team, but people who work well together, people who trust each other, people who know what their job is and do that particular job well. And so it's like putting together, like, I guess you could say, a dream team. And that's I think that's the goal for any director or any visionary. So let's talk about that with you, Jay. How, as far as making those decisions, bringing in those people, let's talk about that process. And then of course we have some of them with us right now that we're going to bring in and talk to. But let's talk about the first step. What was the first step for you as far as building the team?
Everything you said is true. Every element that you just mentioned is super important. However, when you're dealing with movies, at these kind of budget levels, under $100,000 or say under $50,000, the familiarity, the having people that maybe you've worked with before, or that, you at least have, some familiarity with, it becomes exponentially important. Because, on a micro budget film where, you might have, between 5 and 12 days to shoot it, as opposed to 30, when anything goes wrong, it's exponentially more dire, because it's that much more of your time, that much more of your script. So, I started with Craving with people that I've worked with before. For example, the very first person that I thought of, who I've been friends with for, almost 13 years now. He's done the special effects on pretty much every movie that I've done. There's maybe a couple that he didn't, but for the most part, everything. And I would have him on every set if I can. Robert Bravo.
Robert Bravo. Well, luckily we have Robert here with us today. Let's bring in Robert and let's welcome Robert to the show. Thanks for being here with us.
Hi there. I'm happy I could make it down. As Jason might have told you, I'm actually on production on a different feature right now, so I managed to slip away for a little bit, and I'm excited to have a nice conversation. Let you guys in on some secrets.
Well, absolutely. We want to pick your brains for sure. And so Jay mentioned he thought of you right away for Craving. So you guys got together, and what was the first conversation like? What did you guys discuss? How did you get excited about this, working together on this film?
Well, I think initially we kind of we weren't even talking about Craving. We were talking about our careers and the decade that's passed since we got to know each other. And we were thinking about some of those old scripts and how we've grown to the point where we can really do stuff with them today that we couldn't have done back then. If I would have tackled the monster or the thing in Craving back then, he wouldn't have been anywhere near as wicked and cool as what we've got going on today. We have a pretty elaborate transformation sequence and air bladders, and it's very 80s. Jason referenced the thing earlier. And so I think our initial conversation was just talking about what we could do now that we couldn't do back then. And then from there, we started just talking about logistics and what do we need to make it happen? How much money do we need? Are we sure we want to dive into this? Because anytime you're putting that producer hat back on, and in our case, I think all of our producers are wearing multiple hats. It's a lot. But I think we very quickly realized that we were at a time, both creatively and mentally, where we could handle it. And this is a story, we've wanted to tell for a long time. I was there way back when this story was first written. And 10 years later, whenever we talk about, we should get together and make a movie, one of the first things we talk about is, do you still have that script? And so I'm excited that after all these years, we really get to bring it up. And it's all evolved quite a bit in the last few months. So some really cool stuff coming.
That's awesome to hear. And like you mentioned, you're basically talking about timing. And sometimes like we as creators, writers will, we'll have a script that we're so excited about, but we just can't seem to get the pieces together for it. So we kind of, I guess the term is we shelve it. It gets shelved. And, but then we don't want to ever forget about it, because sometimes like you're saying, you have a conversation, it comes up and it's like, let's reapproach this thing and let's see how it feels now. And sometimes just that waiting period, letting something marinate for however many years, you bring it out again and it's even better than you ever thought it would be originally. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what happened here?
I think that's fair to say, and also a interesting thing about it too is the last narrative feature that I directed was about 4 years ago. I've done documentaries in between, and it was, okay, I'm not even going to be political. It was a nightmare. It was for me. It was a really tough shoot. There was a lot of behind the scenes turmoil. The distribution was not ideal, and it didn't do very well financially. It made me not want to make movies anymore. And so I did the documentary thing for a while, and as I started getting the itch to get back into narratives, this was the movie that clicked in my head. But point being, sometimes it takes like a really bad experience to move into the project that you really wanted to do.
Absolutely. I think we can all relate to that in some way. I'm just going to jump to a question we had from one of our viewers. Matt asks, how do Jay and Robert feel about jump scares?
Well, I personally, I don't mind them. I like it. I don't like a movie if that's all it has to offer. But I look at them as cherries on top. I like little jumps, if it is well orchestrated. Now, if the movie is just nothing but jump scares, yeah. But a real well executed one, I'm all like, yeah. I forget the movie. It was out a big movie, a shark movie. The Jason Statham like Meg, right? Not a great movie, but there's a jump scare in that literally like I did jump, and it was really well orchestrated, and I appreciate the hell out of that.
Yeah, no, it's good to give credit to even movies that bomb or you don't like overall. Give credit to those moments they did get right. So yeah, shout out to Meg, which I haven't personally seen, but now I might see it for that jump scare.
It's got a good jump scare.
Okay,
I'll say that.
Good to know. Okay, so let's get back to the story, the writing, the script. I from what I understand, the next step, Jay, at this point, once you got Robert on, you got Bravo on, let's talk about the next piece. Gregory Blair, a phenomenal horror writer. I've worked with him personally, and I found out he was part of this film. I was extremely excited to get involved myself.
Yeah.
Tell us about Gregory.
Yeah. So what had happened is, so this is an old script, right? So I had been tinkering on this script on and off for a decade. So different drafts, like at one point it was set in an office building, then it was set in a graphic design studio, then it was set somewhere else and somewhere else. So it went through all these variations. And, and sometimes I'd get like halfway through and then be like, no, this doesn't work. And I'm one of those writers, like I don't keep old drafts. I just keep building off the old one. So, by the time this came back around, it'd been so many years, and honestly, it'd become kind of a Frankenstein monster, and I was having trouble wrapping my head around it with fresh eyes. I had met Gregory maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I had interviewed him on a podcast that I was doing at the time, and then we became friends. And I remember having lunch with him, and we were talking about scripts. And I think I had mentioned this specific one, and I just kind of talked him through it. And like right there at the table, he gave such good, like concise notes. I was like, man, that's awesome. I always kept in my head. And then, after seeing his work and reading some, I was like, oh my God, like, he's a really good writer. So when it came time to get this movie up on its feet, I felt like it needed a fresh perspective to kind of take all of those, elements and leftover elements from drafts and kind of streamline it and make it all work. And he did so.
Excellent. And again, I was happy to hear Gregory was part of this project. And of course, he was big as far as gathering everyone to do this show today. So we got to bring this guy in now. This is actor, writer, director, producer. He does it all. Gregory Blair, welcome back to the show. Returning guest.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. So I think that there's something to be said right now about looking at, from an artist perspective, looking at a project from multiple point of views. And so you're coming at it as a writer, but I guess you're also able to connect with Jay as a fellow director as well. So let's talk about that. How did that process go? The two of you guys working together to get this script in tip-top shape and ready for, getting into the development.
Well, it was when Jay approached me. He said, I have the script. I want to make it. I'm making it. I think the script needs some work. And so I said, well, let's have a conversation. So we sort of talked a little bit about it. He told me the whole story he just told you about all how many different movies it was in different locations and all that stuff. And so so I said, well, let me read it. And I read it. And I said, okay, let's have a second conversation now that I know what we're talking about. All these great bones were there already, they were just like not put together exactly. So he and I talked about some of his goals. What did he want to do if I were to rewrite it and whatnot. And so I got a good understanding for what he was looking for. And then I gave him my input of the ideas I had. And then he basically gave me free rein to attempt to do all of the goals that the two of us had. And so it was kind of like working with a Frankenstein monster a little bit. But, when something is already on the slab, all the parts are so good. It's really just about finding the ways to put it together to make it we wanted it to flow a little better. We wanted more horror elements in the first half. We wanted a few less characters here or different ones there, those kinds of tweaks. And so after I sort of took free rein, I even changed the ending. I said, okay, here you go. Here's what I've done. Take a look at it. And if there's anything you hate, we'll fix it. And I don't remember if there was too much you hated.
Not much.
And it's a script is written, I forget who originally said it, 3 times, eventually once with the writers. And then when we get into production, and even before then, it's already changed a little bit for different reasons, for casting purposes, for example, which I can let Jay talk about more. And it'll probably change a little bit in production. We'll realize, let's change that line or whatever. And then it'll change in the editing room. Sometimes it's like, this scene doesn't work, I'm going to cut it, or this line doesn't work, or whatever. So, it's always an ongoing process. But the actual scribe work, That's part one. And
Right.
if you don't, I think it's Hitchcock who said the three most important parts of a film are the script, the script, the script.
Oh, I
So
love
you have
that.
to have that first.
I love that quote. That's excellent. Let's share that in the video notes, Dave. That's a great one. So let's talk about the genre itself. And like, I know, Gregory, you've written other horror genres. You've written the comedy horror genre. Is this Craving? Is this like a crime horror? Is that correct? And how do you guys figure out how to merge these genres? Because I think that there's something really powerful in doing that. That you're kind of making a soup. You're kind of coming up with a creation that might be original, is what we're looking for, right? How did these genres work when you put them together?
Honestly, to be 100% frank, like I don't think of it so much at the writing stage as genre. I just think of, this story that I'm telling.
Mm-hmm.
And now as we're in the rewrite stage, and, now I'm putting on both my director and producer hat. And now I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, how is this going to be sold? How is it going to be marketed to audiences? And then, how do you make sure that you're delivering that to audiences? So, I wrote the original, script without that really in mind. This was an early script of mine. So then as we're rewriting it, we're thinking now, well, a good chunk of this is crime thriller, and, a smaller chunk is horror. Like how do we mix the two,
Well, cool. This is definitely a recipe for something original. I think that's what we're always going for as artists. We're looking for a story that they're not expecting. So I'm hoping we're getting that with, I know we're getting that with Craving. I'm excited about seeing you guys go through the process even more. Let's talk about that next step with you guys, how you brought in a production team, 50 Caliber Productions, to help kind of put the next stage in motion of the casting and all the stuff the production team has to do. Let's talk about Kevin and Ashley, who run this company. How did you get, Jay? How did you get in touch with them and figure out how to make this thing work with them, with 50 Caliber Productions?
So I met Kevin on Death Day, the Bad Experience movie, although meeting Kevin was not a bad experience. But we met on that and we kind of became friends. And I would say in my last, probably 3 years in LA, I would consider him to be one of my best friends, and just a super, super nice guy, and so talented as an actor and a really hard worker. Like basically a lot of the things I was saying about Bravo, like you want people in your key positions that are not just talented, but they're good people. I think that is one of the most overlooked elements of whether you're casting or crewing or whatever. What kind of person are they? Like to me, that's paramount, because, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're going to be thinking about these experiences, and, your life is made up out of experiences. And if the experience wasn't good, who cares if the movie turned out well? Like it's both. You need both. And so anyway, when it came to this, I knew right away that Kevin was good for one of the chief roles. And he had been producing stuff for 50 Caliber for, several years. And we worked a little bit. I helped in the development of 16 Bits, which was another movie he starred in and produced. And I just really liked his approach to filmmaking and producing and acting. And I was like, this is somebody I need in a chief position on Craving.
Excellent. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you brought them in, because these guys are, I met Kevin on a event we did a while back. And just when I found out that his company and he brought in just incredible talent to the table, you guys, it's been such a power team watching you guys put this together. Let's welcome to the show right now. We have the head of 50 Caliber Productions, Kevin Caliber, and Ashley Undercuffler. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thank you.
Good to have you on with us. You guys are you really are the power couple, right? You're running this company together. You're both acting. You're both creatively, you're doing it. You're doing the dream that people want to have when they come here. So tell us about. I'd like to know about the history of 50 Caliber Productions and how you came to be where it is today.
Well, I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. Whenever me and Ashley first started working together, I was already pretty far along in a couple of my projects. I was getting ready to release my first series, which was Job Guys. And we were getting ready to shoot. We had already done all the pre-production work for almost up to a year with Jason helping out for 16 bits. And we were getting ready to shoot. And then whenever it came time to us to actually film, Ashley had a part in that as well. And she just stepped up and would always go above and beyond. It was that person on set that you love to have, because like we say in the indie world, we all wear different hats. And to know whenever somebody will pick up the slack, even whenever they're not asked to, it's just that kind of thing, that person you love to have around. So Ashley started doing that, and then she was actually producing her own film and then asked me to be a part of it. So I went in there. I was an actor, and I was the stunt coordinator, so again wearing the multiple hats, while she was the executive producer and lead actress. And things just kind of fell into place. And then anytime I needed anything, I knew that she was a reliable go-to, because she had also been producing for years. So we just kind of combined powers. And like any team, you have to know where the other person, kind of where the strengths and weaknesses are. And I know that there's things that she's just naturally better at. So whenever it came to even this project, me and Jason have been talking for quite a while about, what we could possibly do together. We had another partner that hopefully we'll still be able to shoot another one that we had kind of been discussing. And then whenever Jason said that he was ready to pull the trigger on doing one and asking me if I wanted to be involved, of course, I immediately brought up, my partner, Ashley. And, we started to describe, figure out what roles each person could play as part of the team. And with her, like I say, she crushes it in so many ways. I know that she's so dependable that I don't even have to think about it. And that's what you really want in a partner, of course, because it's really pushed me to be as the best that I could be, because I know I have the support system that is just, you can't, second to none.
And I just want to say too, out of the two of them, I knew Kevin. I knew Ashley a little bit before this, but not real well. And it's been the biggest, like, pleasant surprise. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say surprise, but it's been it's been a gift. Like, not just in like her performance, tape was just incredible, but then on the producing side, I mean, like, I can't even, it's hard for me to express how much I appreciate her business head mixed with the creative. Like, she doesn't lose sight of one over the other. And I think that that's really crucial.
That's incredible. Ashley, you have a lot of fans here.
I'm speechless right now, both of you. That was really, really kind of you to say. And the reason I felt so comfortable coming into this is because I've seen your relationship working together on previous films. And obviously, film is a huge passion for Kevin, and it's pretty much all he thinks about all day. And he's always networking, and he's always there for so many other people that you can always depend on him. And I've learned that over the years. I don't have to think about anything when it comes to film with him. He has a plan and a goal and a network connection. And Jason, you guys saw his demo reel. It was amazing. And we've briefly gotten to work together before on 16 bits and things like that. And I've heard Kevin's stories about working with him on set and how bloody awesome it is. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this and work with everybody.
Excellent. You guys sound like such a tight-knit group. This is, I mean, you guys make it sound so easy and simple, but it really isn't. It really isn't. And I know, Jay, you mentioned earlier, just as far as people look over that part of it, that part of the equation, good people, not just talented people. I mean, you're all talented. I mean, we all try to be good at what we do, but to be a good person at heart, to be somebody trustworthy, somebody who says what they do and do what they say. These are qualities we just don't see so much. It's kind of rare to have an entire team have those qualities. So I have to applaud you, Jay, putting this type of team together, because this is what it is all about.
For me, it really is the most important element of a team. The team building is, not just good people, not just creatively good, but good souls. And then to be another thing that's really helpful is like we're in different walks of life and have different outlooks, but like at least in relation like to this film, we're on the same page. You know what I mean? Like we're all making the same project. And I mean, I've been on projects, Death Day, where every producer on it was making a different movie, and this is a completely different situation.
Yeah, I could even speak to him because like you said, that was the one that we had met on, and I actually got brought in from Robert Bravo, which was kind of funny how that worked because I met Robert on another film that he was doing the effects on that I was not getting any makeup effects at all. I was the pretty boy in that one. So, but I'm so fascinated with the filmmaking process that while they're setting up lights, I would be in watching Robert work. And it was a movie called Maternal Instincts, and his artwork on that alone was just so amazing that it made me want to, learn more and get to know just about him. And then whenever he brought me into Death Day, he's like, hey, I actually played the monster in that. So it was hours of makeup. And even being on that set, like Jason said, I could see where it'd be a nightmare for him because I theoretically I had it easy. I mean, 3 hours worth of makeup and then shooting until dawn is not exactly an easy day, but in comparison to what I wasn't involved in any of the politics. But I do know that I got the call sheet and it had the shot list. And then I would get pulled and taken into another room to reshoot something that we had already shot with a camera. And it's like 2 days later, I'm okay. So I'm kind of getting caught in the middle of it without really knowing. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do it again. I mean, that's weird, but so and you don't really see that on sets. You don't really see splinter crews going over and people talking and like, don't let them hear you. We're going to go film something over here. Typically that doesn't happen on set. So it's, hopefully I don't think that's going to happen in Craving. Only way it can happen in Craving is if Robert Bravo says, I just didn't like the way that thing looked. Cameron, let me stab him and make him, that may be the only thing.
Absolutely. So let's get into the next stage. We're talking about putting together this crowdfunding campaign, which I believe that's the next step. You have a budget. Let's go through the process there. How do we get to the place of going public on this on Indiegogo? Tell me about that process.
Well, first there was, we had to, and this was before everyone else was involved. I had to make a decision that, am I going to crowdfund or am I going to traditionally fund this movie or seek out traditional financing? And, as I said, my previous horror movie, Campus Death Day, it was, kind of a nightmare in that respect. We raised all the money traditionally. We had many different investors. I won't go into everything on that, but it was a very complex situation. And I knew on this one, like, I didn't want that. And also, I run a filmmaking distribution and marketing YouTube channel myself, where I talk a lot about the business of filmmaking, and things have changed so much in the last few years that it's really hard to predict how a movie will perform in the marketplace. So I at this point in my life, I didn't want to risk traditional investment money into a project like this. So I decided to seek out predominantly the budget in crowdfunding, and, like I said, I'd been building the YouTube channel for a couple of years, and I had really, I feel like I've really kind of got the marketing thing down. And so I felt like it was the right time. I felt like I could potentially raise a good amount of money, with the right people behind it. And so we decided to do the Indiegogo.
Great. And I think that was the right move, Jay, because when I stumbled on it, I said, this thing's fantastic. And I just want to let all the people watching right now, that you can go to this campaign right now. There's 1 week left. You go to cravingmovie.com. It'll go right to the campaign. as soon as I got to it, I had to contribute. I had to be part of it because there was something speaking to me in that. And I want to show you guys. Yeah, of course. I shared it with people, and I know you guys have had some major success, and you're still a week left. And I know you guys are going for an additional goal at this point. So let's tell us about those milestones really quick. How did those come about? And
so we initially were looking for $25,000, and excuse me one second. Sorry. And I arrived at that amount based on, money that myself and Bravo had already put in to the creature. And then we, at a bare minimum, we could make the movie happen for this amount. So let's start there. But the plan was always to increase, hit that goal and do it incrementally. So I got a crowdfunding consultant, and his suggestion was to, you have your initial goal, and then you hit that goal, and then you set a goal $5,000 down the road, and then 5,000 more to, hit your stretch goals as you go on. My overall goal was, I would like to be able to raise $65,000 on the Indiegogo. But to get there, it just seemed more realistic to set, shorter term goals, incremental goals.
Yeah, and I think that was a good strategy, because I saw yesterday you guys hit the 40,000 mark. Yeah. So congratulations. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that seriously, wholeheartedly, because I know of a lot of people that have started these things and they haven't gotten, 2 days in, it just they run out of steam. So somehow you guys found a way to keep the momentum going, offering certain perks and things like that. I want to talk about the perks.
Okay.
But first, this is the first thing that attracted me, because I didn't look at the perks first. The first thing I saw was the proof of concept, the sizzle, and I want to show that to our audience right now, and then let's discuss the other elements. So right now, let's first of all, here we go. Okay, we're gonna play this. I just want to make sure I'm calling this the right thing. Is it the sizzle, or is it a proof of concept?
It's a pitch video.
It's a pitch video. Okay. Without further ado, here's the pitch video for Craving.
Did I ever tell you about my first call? It was at 1071 outside this old country bar. Never seen anything like it. The floor was covered in bodies, torn apart. Arms, legs, heads.
So what is Craving? Craving is an insane crime thriller creature feature that examines addiction through the lens of a kick-ass horror flick. The story follows a group of heroin addicts. A drug deal goes bad, and they find themselves held up in a rural roadhouse bar where they're besieged by local police. As they start to go through withdrawal, things get very messy when a secret one of them is carrying comes out. I'm Jay Horton, and I've directed over 22 feature films, and I've produced like 40 others. I've worked in many genres, but I keep coming back to horror. Horror is home to me.
I'm a practical special effects artist. I started in the industry as a indie producer, and I transitioned into special effects about a decade ago, and I'm super excited to bring this guy to life.
And we need your help to get it done. I believe so strongly in this project that I've commissioned a very talented special effects artist to create this beast right now.
Seriously, this creature is going to be super iconic. He's going to feel very Pumpkinhead-esque. It's all practical, and we have a really epic transformation sequence.
But in order to see the movie all the way through completion at the level it and the fans deserve, we need another $50,000 to complete production. The funds will be used for location rental, cast and crew payments, food, sexy stuff like insurance, and lots of blood.
And this is where you can be part of the process. We're already started, we're already in pre-production and building a lot of this stuff on our own. It just takes more than what two people can do.
We are a community, and together we can make a really special movie, the kind that we all love and want to see more of.
We have some really terrific perks, including a fully loaded, and I mean fully loaded, Blu-ray of the final movie.
You can get the chance to appear or be killed in the film, and can even become a producer on it.
Tutorials on doing your own practical special effects.
We're going to create an unprecedented behind-the-scenes look into the filmmaking process.
And there's much, much more.
So support Craving today and be a part of horror film history.
Fantastic. That just got me excited all over again. And for everyone who's joining us right now, or you're coming in late, we're talking to the team behind the film, the horror film in pre-production right now, Craving. We have director, producers, writers, even actors, everybody that is part of putting this thing together. Let me tell us about the perks, because I want the. Oh, look, we have a comment. If Kevin dies, I'm not watching. Is that a fan?
Okay, he doesn't die.
Okay, well, spoiler alert. Come on,
I don't.
Jay.
I could be lying. I probably am lying.
Or he's changing the script.
Or I'm changing, because we are changing the script. So who knows? I don't know. Maybe.
So I got excited over the trailer again, especially when Jason talks about sexy insurance.
Gotta have humor in any pitch. You gotta have humor.
Totally.
Even when dealing with serious subjects like addiction. I want to come back to that theme in a second, but first, let's tell the viewers about the perks that are still available if they get involved in the next week at the Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, we have some great perks. We start at the digital download perk. I think it's $21, which, some will say that's kind of high for a digital download, but it's digital download. It also comes with an exclusive commentary that's very, it's just for the Indiegogo backers. And then you also get a special thanks on IMDb and the movie itself. Other campaigns that I've seen, they usually charge, between $15 and $20 just for the special thanks. And then, the digital download will be something separate. I just package them together and set it at a reasonable price. And then actually, let me. We've been doing so many of these. I'm like, what are our perks? Okay.
I know. Body part one.
What was that?
The body part one is a lot of.
Oh yeah.
We've had a couple of people jump on the body part one the last week. I think that's really cool. It's fun. Anytime you can get a prop. Especially for horror fans to have, there's still something about the hard copy, something you could hold that's tangible. That's where the DVDs, the Blu-rays, there is still a market for that. And yeah, the body parts are the ones that I'm a big fan of are actually having a little piece of the movie being you can have your picture in the movie, you have your face in the movie, you can have your voice in the movie, you can name a character, or of course even be in the movie. And those are the ones that really make you feel like you're really part of the team, because it really is just such a fun collaborativeness. And for me, much like what Jason was talking about earlier, like even if the shoot is not that, or even if you have fun on the shoot, even if the final product is not as good as you hoped it would be, you still have such a good memory of it. And I know that Ashley is a huge fan of bloopers. That's one of her favorite things. That I've done movies or shows that I've worked on really hard, and I've seen them once and I almost don't care as much, but I will still watch the BTS. I will still watch the bloopers. There's just something about that really makes you feel like you're a part of it. And a lot of what we're doing is inviting people into that. You have lunch with the cast. You could have, and whenever they say there's going to be a loaded Blu-ray, they mean it. They're doing so many behind the scenes, and it's from the filmmaking side. So it's actually like going to film school in a way, from not only from Jason, who knows, of course, he does the directing and the editing and of course the distribution, but also from Robert, from the practical effects side of it. It's really getting to see everything. It's a real peek behind the curtain that I think is just really cool.
Yeah, I think what sets our campaign apart from a lot that I've seen is the inclusivity of our perks. Like almost every perk is designed to make people, involved or get involved. Like one I want to talk about is like the producer credit. So you'll see these on almost every Indiegogo. They sell up associate producer and co-producer and executive producer credits, and people pay for them, and then that's it. They get their credit.
Yeah.
But on ours, I make a special effort to include those people in the process. Not necessarily as heavy involved as we are, but they'll know what's going on.
Right.
When the movie starts getting into post, some of these producers can start looking at progressive cuts of the movie and giving input. They're not necessarily voting members, but they can be involved in the process, and I think that is really important. And I think it shows in the campaign and the way that we promote the campaign. And I think it's one of the reasons that people are really engaged in it, both horror fans and filmmakers.
So I love everything you say, Jay. And I know there's people in our community that are nervous or tentative about starting a crowdfunding campaign. They don't necessarily know if it's something they should even take on. We do have a question from Stella. She says, how do you know if a film should take the traditional financing or the crowdfunding route? Does it depend on the budget?
Honestly, my answer to that is it depends on you. If I think ideally crowdfunding would be perfect for everything, because you're not beholden to investors. Nobody's mortgaging their house for it. It would, in a perfect world, it'd be the perfect system, but it's not. So whether the question really is, can you succeed with a crowdfunder? And that's a question that everybody has to answer for themselves individually. 4 years ago, I couldn't have done this. I wasn't in the right, headspace. I didn't have the right kind of marketing knowledge. I didn't have the right kind of following, and I'm by no means an influencer or anything like that. But, I've spent 3 years building my filmmaking YouTube channel, and I've got really good support through that. And in doing that, it's taught me how to be on camera, how to be more natural on camera, how to be more, how to express myself in a more genuine manner.
Right.
And I think that those tools have have helped me to push this campaign.
I think you've been extremely successful with that, Jay, because it is, to me, it's about good filmmaking is about authenticity. And that's not just what you see on the screen. That's from the beginning of the process, saying, what's the story I want to tell? What's the messaging? What is the why? And that's what we like to talk about that a lot in the Sherwood community. We, at our workshops and stuff, one of the themes we bring to everything we are investigating, and we're in the film development process in this episode here, but it's the same thing that comes into play, is why? Why are we even doing this? There has to be a why. And if there isn't, you better find one. And then, of course, what you're saying, Jay, the presentation, how do you present that in an authentic way where people are going to emote from it? We're like Ashley even mentioned, you're watching this, you haven't seen it in a while, and it makes you emote. It's not just another horror film, whatever, but you're saying something here. And and what you're saying about, I think people are responding to the, okay, so the creature comes into play, and that's awesome. But you're setting the story up before the creature. You're setting the story up with this group of people that are going, they're in a bad spot, and they're dealing with addiction. And there's things like that might even resonate on a serious level with people. And I think that horror genre allows you to escape to something else, but also connect on a personal level. And I think you convey that literally in that even in the first half. I'm drawn right into that in that first 30 seconds even.
Yeah, totally. I think the best movies, whether they're horror or not,
right,
your thematic elements need to build into it, and addiction is something, I've dealt with in my family and friends. So it's always something that's been on my mind. And I didn't want to necessarily make a movie that, clean and sober, or, something like that. But how can I bring some of those things, into a genre picture without preaching at people or anything like that? Because it's really not, it's subtext in this.
Yeah.
Great. Well said. Well said. And I urge everyone to go to cravingmovie.com. One last week left to get involved with this film. The Indiegogo campaign, I believe, ends next Monday. So we're under the 7-day mark right now. So yeah, encourage everyone to do that. We're going to wrap it up here in a second. Let's see, can we bring everyone in and maybe ask any final thoughts from the group? Oh, look, we got the whole team. Look at that. Oh wait, are we able to get everyone on here? Yes. Okay.
I think that's everybody.
We got everybody. This is excellent. I love this. I guess we have to plug. We have to plug the service. This is StreamYard that we're on, so everybody knows it's an excellent platform and it's working for us. So thanks to StreamYard. I'm gonna let you guys each say a final thought. Anything you want to contribute, but first I want to tell everyone we will be on Clubhouse in a few minutes. A few minutes after 6 Pacific, we'll be getting on there. So watch out for us. And you guys are welcome to come on with us as well. We'll give you guys the invite. This is excellent. Addiction support hotline numbers on there. This is awesome. Can call and engage if they need to. But right now, let me just throw it out to the group, to the Craving team. Any final thoughts for us, for the listening audience?
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support that you've given us so far. We notice everyone who shares the campaign, and a lot of you have donated twice, which is just unbelievable. And for those of you who wonder about movie magic and how things happen, this is the campaign that you want to be a part of. If you want to see behind the curtain how things work, grab those perks while you can, because it's really cool stuff.
Awesome. Anybody else on the team want to add something before we switch platforms here?
Nope. Just go support the movie. www.cravingmovie.com.
Excellent. Well, what a fantastic group. Thank you guys. Thank you to the whole Craving team. You've all been fantastic. Thanks for coming on and talking with us. It's been an awesome hour. And I know you're taking time out. Everyone's taking time out of their day to do this. So again, much love, appreciation. And we're just happy to work with you guys. Remind everyone to go to cravingmovie.com one last week to support this film and be part of the filmmaking process. And I will give one last suggestion, because I know people are wondering, should I do my own crowdfunding campaign? If you're still wondering, just go and be part of someone else's, like maybe Craving.
Yeah,
and
follow ours, see what actually goes into it, because
Exactly.
One last thing I'll say about crowdfunding, it is a crap ton of work. Like however much you think it is, it's about 50% more.
It's 50% more than what you think. So yes, be on the receiving end of this and see what you like, what works, what got your attention, and then you can apply that to your own campaign when you're ready to do yours. So yeah, we learn from each other. There's power in numbers, and that's the Sherwood motto. So thank you guys so much for being with us. Sherwood players, if you're new to our group, please like and subscribe to our channel and go to our website, sherwoodplayers.com, and you can get more info on some of the events and projects we have coming up in the pipeline. And we will see everybody next week on the next episode of the Sherwood Shakeup. Till then, to the artist.
Thanks for having us back.